Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Edmond. Colleagues, greetings. My name is Solomon Pagabonerano. I'm a refugee currently living in Uganda, Chakatu, from Democratic Republic of Congo. And I'm the founder and executive director of Living Green, a refugee-led organization that is championing climate action uh, not only in Chagatu, but also in the neighboring uh, districts. Um, Personally, I became a refugee aged 6 years. That's around over 2 decades ago. And my settlement was here, Chakatu. However, over time, I've seen things changing. But I remember when I reached in the settlement, the place was too forested, that even there were no path or ways, and people were being directed to their allocated the land in a deep forest. So, and the only source of livelihood by then was either receiving food from UNCR and also practicing uh, farming. So during this time and in the area, all the cookings were done using firewood. So I didn't see any time during those days seeing any family using charcoal for either cooking. So as time went on, uh, the population started increasing in the settlement. And as the population started increasing, then it is when I started realizing a number of challenges that started happening in the settlement. One of these challenges was massive deforestation and the land degradation. As I say, that the demand on farming as well as cooking was much, which led to massive pressure on the environment. The trees, according to the UNCR report, by between 2001 and 2024, Chaka has lost over 96% of its tree cover. So, and this is also, it was also captured in the Global Forest Watch report. So this means that the area that used once to have forest, it is now bare. It's very hard now to have even to see where trees are growing naturally unless you see those ones that have just been planted. So because of the disappearance of these trees, there is also a challenge that emerged as in the community, which is energy poverty. Over time, people we have been relying on firewood, we have been relying on charcoal for cooking, but currently you find that even where to get firewood is not there. Refugees are crossing to the host community, Kabamba, around 12 to 18 kilometers from the settlement. And most people who are doing this are the women and the children who are supposed either to be going to school or to engage in other uh, economic activities, but they spent hours walking looking for uh, firewood so they can eat. Because even if you come to Chakatu right now, the price of charcoal is as much as compared to that of Kampala. In Chaka right now, a sack of charcoal is around the 82,000 Ugandan shillings, which is the same as the price in Kampala. So, and the cost of the standard of living of people here, it is so not that good. That's why you are seeing others even spend that time going to look for firewood. Others completely fail to get firewood and they end up not having a single meal to eat. However, we realize that also because the soil has been degraded, has been reduced, so people are no longer, the soil is no longer productive, and the land is not enough for much farming to take place. There is a lot of famine in the place, a lot of food insecurity is here being experienced in Chaka. The population over time, they generate a lot of waste, both plastics and organic waste. You find them being dumped in all the trading centers with poor management. And all these are leading to the destruction of our environment, are contributing to the climate change. And I remember some time back reading a lot of reports claiming refugees were causing the environmental destruction, and we have negative attitude towards protecting the environment. So in so doing, I realized that we are being viewed as burdens, not as also as innovators. So this prompted me and some other colleagues in 2016 to come up with an idea of restoring the environment through tree planting. However, we realized that yes, we started planting the trees, but over time, these trees could again be cut down because of much demand for cooking energy. So we are not meeting our target of regreening the Chakatu refugee settlement. So we had to go back on the drawing board, and that was in 2021. In 2016, when we came up with an idea of contributing towards restoring the climate, I mean the environment in Chakatu through tree planting, we started by establishing just a simple tree nursery and started mobilizing fellow youth and the other refugees to plant trees. However, we realized that we are not meeting our target of regreening the environment because most of these trees could again be cut down for firewood. And we wanted to find alternative that is both affordable, locally available, yes, and also healthy for the community. That's why we started thinking. We realized that a lot of waste are being generated within the settlement, and no not much management was being done. So what we did was to now rethink, to start now applying the green circular economy model. We thought that yes, we started by just establishing an energy center where we started collecting the waste from communities. Upon reaching our energy hub, we do the sorting and we find the organic waste. Part of it, we carbonize it and produce briquettes. So part of it, then we continue composting it to make organic compost that still farmers use in their gardens. So doing this, we realized that waste started contributing, acting as a raw material for our clean cooking solution. And we realized that we can not only produce briquettes without having a compatible stove that can burn them efficiently. That's when we also started uh, fabricating eco stoves. And right now, over time, we have been upgrading. Some of the composting manure that we have been composting, we are also using it at our tree nursery because we are happy that in Chaka we are having one of the largest tree nursery in the settlement as well as the energy hub. And currently we are also managing the dump site in Chaka to settlement that what we wanted is to make sure that the waste is we don't call it a waste, but a raw material or source of revenue to refugees. So we have the products that we already have that we are developing. Currently, we are having carbonized briquettes, which we make from waste and are used for cooking. So our energy center currently has a production capacity of up to 3 tons a day. So it is one of the largest. We have developed an eco stove, which is locally fabricated, and it uses a microgasification technology powered by a solar panel and an inbuilt battery. This stove also can light. The stove can also charge phone. So you realize that one stove has multiple functions, and the aim is at least one stove can provide different alternatives and solutions to the refugees and the host communities we are having. So we have the tree seedlings that we have at our tree nursery, and all these at least they generate some revenues, and these revenues just also help us to scale our interventions as well as benefiting a lot of refugees through employment, because we have at least employed some of them under the value chain. Yeah, so basically that's what I can say. I'll be calling my colleague Walter if you are online to take from there. Thank you. If Walter, you are online, kindly unmute.
Hello. Do we have Michael back?
Oh,
Yes. I'm back.
Sorry, Michael, you were cut off earlier.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Sorry. Walter, are you able to hear us?
okay.
Please
Okay,
go
now
ahead.
I can hear you. Yeah, it's just because you had put a restriction, so I will not speak. Yes. My name is Walter Dunga. I am in charge of programs at Live in Green. And I'll just take up. It's just interesting that some of the things I'm going to mention on the key impacts have already been said. I'll not take much of the time. So between 2016 to date, Living Green has managed to record over 1.8 million trees, covering about 21 hectares of land. Within the same time range, we have been able to educate about 12,000 people across the value chain. That is from waste collection, waste sorting, clean cooking energy. We've also been working with micro enterprises. These include the VSLAs at community level. And given that the expansion has gone beyond the settlement, we're also working with micro enterprises within Kampala to help sell the product. And this has also been evident in Mubende. As per our records, we currently have 22 registered that help us with the selling. Looking at the demand for the stoves, we are beyond 6,000. Looking at the record of finance, the audited books last year. My network is okay. Then in terms of the trainings, looking at, I'll start with Kakuma, coming to Chiriandongo, going to Bidibidi, then to Chaka. All those that we have trained are over 2,000. And in terms of revenue growth, looking at audited books of the financial year 2024 and 2024-2025, we had about 44% revenue growth. We're averaging between 500 million to 800 million within the 2 years. Solomon, next slide, please. And then when you look at the challenges that we've been having, I'll start with the dump site that we've been assigned by the OPM for this calendar year. It's something that we have just received. It was not yet demarcated well. So it's something that we're looking at how best do we demarcate it so that we can have a clear boundary and also enable us to process better. Waste was poorly disposed, it was scattered, and it wasn't looking good. So that is something that we're currently dealing with. When Solomon went to Nairobi for a conference last month, people liked the products, the motor core and the volt core that he has just explained in the previous slide regarding the products that we're doing, the modifications we made using microgasification technology, and then powering the batteries with solar and ensuring that we have a blower that can ensure that the burning is doing okay. We've had orders coming from people in Nairobi. One person needed about 1,000 stoves, but given that our input costs for the sheets that we use for making the stoves is low, the costs are extremely high. So one stove would average for about $100. That's about 350,000, which is quite expensive. So meeting that particular order is very challenging, and we're looking at how best do we work around it. So it's really been a challenge. As we continue to grow, there are things that we're also learning and unlearning. Our monitoring, evaluation, accountability, and learning system is not the best as yet. So it's something we're working on, though it's not the best. And then our purchasing power. When you look at the affordability at the settlement where we anchor our growth, it's not really something that somebody can say they can comfortably purchase the Volt Core. But we have other stoves that we have tried to make sure that people can obtain. But as we continue to advance, that has been a very big challenge. Solomon will tell you that now that we're moving from donor dependency syndrome to trying to adopt a social enterprise, it comes with entire challenges in terms of governance. How do we do the mindset shift within? These are just internal, but it's something we're really, really working on to make sure that we address it. But it's a key challenge between balancing the two. Next, Solomon. Yes. So with opportunities, with challenges come opportunities. And one of the things we have realized is that we can collaborate with investors. And with about $250,000, we're able to buy sheets that we use for fabrication. It can actually help us purchase in bulk, lower down the costs, and we can meet the current demand from a lady who wanted about 1,000 pieces in Nairobi alone. In Kampala, we have demand for the same stoves that is trickling to over 300 pieces. So this creates an opportunity. We are looking at how best we can revise and get debt financing, but given that we are initially an NGO operating in that capacity, has been really hard to get debt financing, but that's an opportunity that is there. When we look at the carbon finance, there's a great opportunity there. Currently, our products are being certified by CREC at Makerere University. They're gauging the amount of carbon that we are actually saving. The last time they did a test on our product, we are ranking at tier 3. We have tried to improve that, and now we see there's an opportunity in terms of carbon credits. We also got a partner who was interested in finding out from the tree covers whether we've been doing mapping and how much carbon that could be and what kind of financing that will give Living Green. In terms of market development, I just mentioned that we have set up in Kakuma, and this has also proven to us that we can go beyond Uganda. We have some other orders trickling to Bundibujo. Some people from Congo are really interested in the products. We have other businesses that will wish we set up the machines that we fabricate locally to their places. We have looked at the market scope, and we realized that, yeah, this is something that can work. We can go way beyond selling briquettes and stoves alone, but also pushing our products that are locally fabricated. That is the extruder machine, as well as the piston press machine for making of briquettes. But it's on a condition of the market radius so that we don't suffocate the market with the same product. In terms of also quality management, this is an opportunity in how we are pushing through the regional markets, and it's quite interesting. When you look at research and development, we have been progressing well. For those that have visited us, will tell the journey of our stoves and our briquettes from where we started, with it being very difficult to burn, and now it burns and it can easily light under 60 seconds. From the binders, which we initially, it was starch from cassava that will burn between 4 to 6 hours, to now adding molasses that increases the burning rate to between 5 to 8 hours. So it's really something that is great for us. But there's also opportunity there to grow further. We're currently patenting the stoves with URSB to make sure that the processes that we're doing are customized to us. So that's an opportunity that if you're willing to work with us, we can do better. We have adopted microgasification technology with the blowers, just to make sure that we improve the burning experience. We're using double insulation. Now we're doing quad row insulation to make sure that the stove can be cooked. You can put the stove on any surface and it will not have to burn. If you're using wood as a platform where you cook, we can't, our stoves won't leave that black mark. So these are really opportunities we can collaborate. We are not the best. The technical expertise is growing. The areas we are we really need support in terms of technical research. And these are places we are offering collaboration opportunities besides the funding. So I think I'll leave this at that, and I'll pass it over to Solomon. In case of any questions, we'll be more than willing to respond. Thank you. Over to you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much, Walter, for yes. I beg to end our presentation and take microphone back to Mike. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, the team from Living Green. I just wanted to ensure that you guys are able to hear me. Thumbs up, please, if you're able to hear me properly. Thank you so much. That was very inspiring from Living Green and the wonderful work you're doing in Chaka 2 refugee settlement. In the interest of time, would like to hear from the participants, and I posted some questions in the chat. The first question is, what is one way you could support or collaborate with Living Green? Wherever you are and wherever you're joining us from, what is coming in your mind after listening to the testimonies from Walter and Solomon? De quelle manière pourriez-vous soutenir ou collaborer avec Living Green si vous parlez français? Voilà, ça c'est la question que nous sommes en train de nous poser. And what I'm going to do is that I'll be picking names randomly to hear your like, what is it that you're learning and what is coming in your mind, and how you can support or collaborate with Living Green, because the main aim of us being here is to, create synergy, solidarity, find ways how we can collaborate to deal with some of the issues that are affecting our environment. And I'll start with, okay, there's a question from Emmanuel Shimimana. Maybe before I go to members to tell me aspects of collaboration, Solomon or Walter, could you respond to this question? Could you briefly clarify the key challenges currently affecting performance and how they are being addressed? This is from Emmanuel Chimiemana. Solomon or Walter, you can take over that question. And then after that, we shall hear from Edmund. So, Solomon, are you able to unmute or you're having problems?
Thank you so much. I think I'll talk if Walt also has something to add, we shall respond. The currently two challenges that we mentioned is because over time we have been innovating to see that at least we are upgrading our solution more so on clean cooking. Yeah, so we have innovated the stove that I showed here. Yeah, this stove over time, like with the refugees, we have been considered that, the reason to why some of their products are not supported because they are substandard. So what we did was to see how can we improve and show that, yes, really we can do something good. So that's why we have over time we have been innovated. People who have been visiting our energy hub. They have seen different number of stoves that we have been innovating, and this is the latest model. We did it with an inspiration that our stove can also compete with those ones that are imported either from China or other countries. So the current challenge that we encountered is these materials that we are using to fabricate these stoves are sourced locally. And some of these people who go to outside countries to come, they come when they also add their profits. You find that a product is very expensive, and in so doing makes the production cost high. And at the end, once this stuff is ready for market, you find the price is high because of the production cost. So what you are looking at is how can we be able to acquire these materials in bulk and at a lower cost, either by also importing so that we can lower the production cost, and in so doing, even the the price is going to go down. So in so doing, that's how we are looking for how we can do that. And all what it requires is the financial resources. So currently the financials are still limiting us. And what are we doing with it? So what we are doing with it currently is we are trying to do fundraising, reaching out to people, even who are here joining. We are calling you that if you can join hands with us so that we can raise funding and we meet this. For example, we have orders 10,000 pieces of stoves from Nairobi. But now to produce these stoves, it requires some fast input. So which is a money that currently we don't have to do that. But any support, either in form of a funding or even a soft loan or whatever, we are flexible. We are able to access so that at least we can capture the market and be able to, scale our solutions. Maybe Walter can add something before we can hand over the microphone. Thank you.
Yeah, just let me speak something very. It's common. It's a common trait when you're switching from NGO to social enterprise. That the people working, the kind of working is really a challenge. But what has happened is we have tried to have as many trainings as possible, just to make sure the team is motivated. Also, understanding the break-even points and communicating this value has been a challenge. That it's no longer a charity or subsidized fee, but this is the value we are communicating, and this is the purchasing power. One of the things that I want to cite that has been a challenge in performance was thinking that our primary target market should always be the refugee. But through design thinking and iterating, realize actually we can work together and have the refugees actually producing And that term refugee doesn't have actually to appear on our mouth. These are just same people like myself. I come from Uganda, and Solomon comes from Congo. It's just out of circumstance that we're here. We can work together, come up with something beautiful, and still meet the market. We have to understand who our customer is, communicate that value to the customer so that they can pay for the price. And that has been a key challenge for us, because moving the persons that you're working with from the mentality of handouts and bringing them to how do you communicate value and purchase the product has really, really been difficult. But I want to appreciate the trainings that we are receiving by participating in programs, acceleration programs. That has been very instrumental. Then what Solomon is talking about in terms of meeting a demand, we're also psychologically not prepared for that. So people pick interest and place huge orders. How do we deal with the legal issues? How do we communicate this to people that can actually offer us credit has been a very, very key challenge. And it is through mentorship that I will tell you that we're now getting better. We are not yet there, but continuous seeking of knowledge from our friends and partners is actually trying to help us to learn how to communicate this. When you get a client who asks for 1,000 pieces, well, how do you keep the customer making sure that you deliver the demand? How do we talk about the customer actually giving us 50% payment to help us with the financing? So these are knowledges that we are now picking up, bringing it back to the team so they can understand that even if we have a big order, we can actually talk to the customer and they pay maybe 50 or 60% upfront, and we use that part of financing, then look at what gap exists, and then see how best we can grow through that. So that's some of the things that we're doing to ensure that we improve performance. But working with the team, it's continuous growth, continuous training that is going to actually help us achieve better. Over to Mike.
Thank you so much. That's really a very good summary of some of the challenges and some of the ways how you're trying to navigate some of those challenges. Thank you so much. Let's jump to Edmund. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Solomon and Walter, for the great presentation. My question follows on well from what Walter was just saying. I was wondering if you could share, Solomon, some insights, reflections, perhaps some advice for refugee-led organizations that are pivoting from dependency on aid funding towards more sustainable funding and resources like locally found opportunities like you are. What have been some of your experiences? Is it really a viable process? Because I can imagine it takes time before the commercial arm of your work can really subsidize the other work you're doing, planting trees and your nursery, etc. What have been some of the things that you've learned along the way that you would share with other refugee-led organizations that are thinking of moving to enterprise as a source of revenue generation, as opposed to primarily focused on the aid budgets, which are currently going down?
Okay, thank you, Edmund, for the question. I think I'll pick this up. The first advice is you really have to understand what you're good at. Then the other one would be, before you know what you're good at, what is it that you're solving for the participant or for the community that you're residing in? That is the fundamental question. What is their pain and how can you solve this? Then once you discover that, you need to grow into one specific area that you're really good at. I believe before now, Living Green was everywhere. You'll hear livelihood, you'll hear we are in health, but we do focus on one specific item. Can we address the issue to do with cutting down of trees? And then opportunities came by actually finding out why do they cut trees. So if there's any other person here who is running a refugee-led organization and is in the settlement, that will be the first question. What you're currently doing, is it solving a need or does it solve a problem, a pain point? Is that particular pain universal? Yeah, we need to move away from advocacy, and we need now to move away to something that is really tangible. And then after that is the solution we have. Does it communicate value to the person that is actually going to use the solution? That is very, very key. Then we can now work the other parts that to us we have learned. Behavioral changes has been very instrumental, because when we started, it was very difficult. People are used to subsidized products. They believe that everything you do, UNHCR has a hand in it. Everything you do, there is a donor that is attached to it. But when we started working with the individuals, by them understanding that it is from here that we pick our solutions. It doesn't matter whether I'm coming from Uganda, or you're coming from Congo, or you're coming from Rwanda. This problem is here to exist. And UNHCR, from those that have witnessed, they've gone losing staff. So it's practical to communicate this to the people that you're working with so that they can understand it, and then create the opportunity to show them that from this, there is actually payment. You can actually get paid. So Solomon and the team, we did a training on break-even analysis. We used to call it level of effort. If you wanted this particular solution to pay you, say, 1 million Uganda shillings every month, will that be sufficient to take care of your family? Yes. Do you understand the level of effort that we need to put to get 1 million? Yes. What area? This is what we need to do. So we list it and say, these are the people we are serving. This is the product we're bringing. And if we charge this based on the value, can they afford? If they cannot afford at that particular point, you have to go to the host community and find out whether they can afford. So they can help financing this way. But the other challenge that exists is not every refugee, as we think, is poor. Some are actually enterprising. They have real problems that we can actually solve, and they're taking care of others. So if we can find a way to communicate value to them, people pay for value. It's not about a pricing issue in our solution. It's about what value are we communicating in addressing them. Once that has been defined, then we work on that particular product or service. Does it meet that specific person that you're addressing for? And it's also good to dream big, have a realistic goal, revise your vision, revise your mission statement, communicate the goals, have adequate training. Areas that you don't have proper understanding of in terms of businesses, seek for help. I believe Michael is here. He can actually recommend people that can help with training. Living Green is also here. We have the lived experience. We can share training with any other person so that we can walk the journey together and create value. And for those who want to know, I can share this. From what we do, we have managed to replicate what we do in Chiriandongo refugee settlement. We set up for them a clean energy hub where they're now currently producing briquettes for that settlement. People in Bidibidi saw this. We also did the same for them. And the people in Kakuma, we met in the conference in Nairobi, we also did the same for them. So it's really true that you can transition by understanding the scope of where you're operating. You can understand the pain of the people that you're working with, and then we can actually help you tell the story from our end so that it can inspire you to do it from that way. But in terms of training, capacity building, if you don't have a business background, it is important for you to receive it so that you can know how to link your solution, to understand things like the level of effort, to understand that you need to be paid salary. You have to understand that your product communicates value and your product addresses a pain for the particular user. Once you have those basics, then the other part will come as you continue going. So that is it from me, unless Solomon wants to add, but that's what I've learned, and that has been the journey.
Thank you so much, Walter, for that submission. And I'll be revisiting my question again, which is in the chat, and there are some members that I will be picking. Just don't worry if I pick your name. Just tell me how you're feeling about today's presentation, what you're learning, your key takeaways, ways how you can collaborate or support some of these good ideas from Living Green.